So today we are going to be flying the PMDG Boeing 777-300 from Miami to Dubai. So once again, I'm very excited for this video, not only because the 777 is my favorite commercial aircraft, but this will be my first video flying the 777 in Flight Simulator 2024. So alongside the 737, PMDG has not released the 777 for the new simulator, so I had to port this into the new sim, and so far it's working perfectly. So today we had pretty interesting weather here in Miami. The winds are reaching up to 30 miles per hour, which will make the takeoff a bit difficult, but interesting for you guys, of course. But it's around noon here in Florida, and this flight should take around 12 to 14 hours, which I'll be doing all in real world time with real world weather. So we should be reaching Dubai at around 11 to 12 p.m. their time. But anyway, let me go ahead and get this plane fired up and headed towards Dubai. Okay, so we have received this plane in a turnaround state, so I'm going to go ahead and start the pre-flight checklist. ADRE switch is on, thrust asymmetrical compensation auto, primary flight computers auto and guarded, battery switch on, IFE pass seats on, cabin utility on, APU on, it's already on. APU generator switch is on, left and right bus tie switch is auto, external power switch is off, left and right main generators on, left and right backup generators on, left and right drive switches drive and guarded, left wiper off, voice recorder auto, emergency light armed and guarded, service interphone off, pass oxygen off, window heat all four on, rim air turbine guarded and off, left and right primary engine pump on, but displaying fault, center 1 and center 2 electric pump switches both off. Demand pump selectors all four off. No smoking and electronic signs on. Seatbelts off. Left lighting panel as desired. Everything's off because it's during the day. Storm light off. Landing lights off. Cargo fire arm switches off. Cargo fire discharge switch guarded. APU fire discharge handle in. Fire overheat test button. Alright, it's working. EEC mode switches normal and guarded. Start selectors normal. Auto start on. Fuel and jettison left and right nozzles off. Fuel to remain off. Fuel jettison arm off. Cross feed switches off. Fuel pump switches off. Anti-ice selectors all three auto. Right lighting panel as desired. Indicator light switch test. Right, everything's working. Nav light on. It's already on. Logo and wing light as desired. We don't need it, it's during the day. Beacon off. Beacon is off. Taxi, runway turn off, strobe lights all off. And they are all off. Alright, air conditioning panel, equipment cooling auto, gas spur on, recirculation fans on, temp selectors as desired, left and right pack auto, left and right trim air on, left center and right bleed isolation auto, left and right engine bleed on, APU bleed auto, forward and aft outflow valve auto, landing altitude selector off, wiper right off. Okay, now that I have the overhead panel set up, I'm going to go ahead and get the flight programmed into the plane with the FMC. Alright, I got the flight plan loaded into the plane. Now for the next part of the checklist. Alright, so we need to put the barometric pressure into the plane. So right now it is 30. Weather, traffic, and terrain all off. And they are all off. FPV and meters, I'm going to enable FPV. Alright, now we need to set up the MCP. Flight director both on. Flight director is on. Left and right auto throttle switches arm. They're both armed. Speed selector V2 plus 10. So V2, so that would be 197. Pre-select LNAV and VNAV. Autopilot disengage bar up. It is up. Heading selector takeoff heading. Altitude selector cruise. And that is 31,000 feet. Alright, oxygen mask test. Nav, display, control, and air data source switches, all three off. They're all off. Inboard display selector, MFD. Heading reference, guarded and normal. PFD-ND check. Standby instruments check. Glide slope inhibit off. Flap override off and guarded. Gear override off and guarded. Terrain override off and guarded. Landing gear lever down. Alternate gear switch guarded. Auto brake selector RTO. Already RTO. ECAS check. Gear down green. Fuel quantity check. Yep. Cancel recall check. Lower center display check. Secondary engine indicators. Status page. And checklist page. Reset all. Center display control off. Upper and lower center display brightness as desired. Alternate pitch trim lever is neutral. Speed brake lever down and forward. Thrust lever is idle. Flap level in agreement and up. Yep. Parking brake set. Engine discharge light extinguished. Engine fire handles not lit. Weather radar test. Alright, plane's ready to fly, so I'm going to go ahead and start the before pushback / before start checklist. So FMC CDU setup complete. CDU pages, takeoff, and legs for the co-pilot. MCP panel verify set. Set. APU verify on. APU is on. External power verify off. External power is off. Right electric demand auto. Center 1 and Center 2 electric primary on. Left electric demand auto. Center 1 and Center 2 air demand auto. Seatbelt signs auto. No electric, no smoking on. Left and right fuel pumps on. Center fuel pumps on. Beacon on. Stabilizer trim set for takeoff. So trim is supposed to be 6.0. Alright, time to make sure the plane is closed up and request a pushback.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback. Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted. Release parking brakes.
Alright, releasing parking brakes.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Okay, let's go ahead and get engine 1 started. Alright, lower center display engine page. Start selector left.
Set parking brakes.
Alright, set parking brakes.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Okay, let's see if giving fuel does anything. Alright, that is kind of strange. The numbers on the engine page aren't working correctly. But it looks like the engine is functioning properly. Alright, starting engine 2. Giving fuel to engine 2.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Alright, engines are started, so let's go ahead and do before taxi. So APU off. Generators verify on. Left and right generators on. Left and right start selectors verify norm. They are both on norm. Engine anti-ice as required. And we don't need it. It's going to be warm. Packs verify on. Left and right packs on. Auto brake verify RTO. RTO set. Flaps set for takeoff. Alright, set flaps to 5. Flight controls verify free and full movement. Okay, let's go to the page. ICAS recall. Pushback tug removed. Alright, they already removed. Taxi light on. Disable parking brake. Alright, let's give it some power slowly. So I went ahead and added some add-on scenery for this airport, and I have to say the scenery here is crazy good, and it also lines up perfectly with the static aircraft scenery that I have from Aladdin VFR. That's how I get the aircraft. Well, that's of course if I'm not using AI traffic, then I'll disable it, but usually I'm using static traffic. So I always love flying into or out of hubs for major airlines because of this. Like, this whole area over here is just dedicated to American Airlines planes, and it looks cool. It reminds me of Memphis, actually, because they have an entire area dedicated to just FedEx planes. For as far as the eye can see, it's just hundreds of FedEx planes. It looks really cool, but it's like that here, but with American instead. Alright, so the barometric pressure has changed. I'm going to go ahead and update it from 30 to 2997. Holding short of runway 26 left. Alright, before takeoff checklist, auto brake, verify RTO, RTO, flaps, verify set for takeoff, flaps 5, weather radar, MCP set, everything set, auto throttle arm, and auto throttle is armed. Alright, landing lights on. Runway turn off lights on. Strobe lights on. Alright, we're good to go. Park and brake off. Okay, we are lined up with the runway. Engine stable. Takeoff thrust set.
V1.
Alright, positive rate of climb. Gear up. Autopilot. Whew, that was a crazy takeoff. That's like the most wind I've ever had on a takeoff, if I'm being honest. Scenery looks gorgeous. Oh, I believe that's Fort Lauderdale International below. It just blows my mind how far you can see out in this simulator. You can't even see half this far out in FS 2020. We have reached our transition altitude, so I'm going to go ahead and set the barometric pressure to standard and turn off our landing lights. The plane handled itself perfectly on that takeoff. It was, like I said, that was some of the craziest wind I've seen on a takeoff. I was doing full right rudder at a certain point, and I'm pretty sure the left gear lifted off the runway well before the right, or vice versa. That was insane. It felt really good fighting the plane, trying to get it off the ground without scraping it at all. That was really cool. But anyway, the plane is handling itself perfectly right now. We're at 11,000 feet. Our cruising altitude is 31,000. We have a bit of climbing to do ahead of us. So anyway, once we get to our cruising altitude, I'll check in with you guys and let you guys know how the plane's doing. Okay, so we just hit our cruising altitude of 31,000 feet, so the plane is handling itself perfectly fine as a PMDG plane should. So we have about 13 hours of flying ahead of us. So for me, in real life, it's going to be around like midnight. It's about noon right now, but it's going to be around midnight, 1 a.m. When the plane is getting ready to land. But anyway, so in about 11 to 12 hours, I'll check in with you guys when we are approaching our top of descent, because we have some checklists that we have to go through, some reprogramming of the plane to prepare it for the approach, because we can't pre-plan for it. So much time is going to go by that the weather will change, the winds will change direction, the barometric pressure will change and everything so much that we can't pre-plan for it. So I'll check in with you guys once we hit that part of the flight, but anyway, I'll see you guys once we get to that point. Alright, so we are getting ready to hit our top of descent, so I need to program in the arrival, so I'm going to go ahead and do that really quickly. Okay, I went ahead and got our approach planned, so now I need to get the approach settings, airspeed and flap setting, programmed into the aircraft. So we have hit the top of descent, the plane's automatically bringing the throttle back and starting the descent. So right now I need to get the auto brake set. So I'm going to go ahead and set it to 3 because at Dubai International you actually don't use your thrust reversers, you only use spoilers. So typically I have it set to 1, but we're going to use 3. And now I'm going to go ahead and preset the barometric pressure, but I'm not going to set it just yet. So it's 2991. So I have it preset, so once we get to our transition altitude, which is 11,000 in Dubai, we will change it from standard pressure to 2991, and if the pressure changes at all before we get to our transition altitude or the ground, I'll go ahead and change it. But it looks like the plane's handling the descent well right now. I don't need to add any speed brakes, so things are looking good. Those lights off in the distance are Dubai. And I believe the body of water we're getting ready to cross right now is the Persian Gulf. Alright, we're starting to get closer and closer to the city. Starting to be able to make out buildings and the lights. So just so my visibility is a little bit better, I'm going to turn off the floodlights. Oh, so my mistake, transition altitude in Dubai is 13,000, so I'm going to go ahead and set the barometric pressure to local. And drop in the landing lights. Alright, I'm going to man the vertical speed. So I'm trying to get us to 2,000 feet at the Ukrim waypoint. BNAV is not getting us there for some reason. So FMC is telling us to go to 170, so I'm going to drop the speed to 170. And apply some speed brakes. We can see the runways off in the distance. Alright, last minute slowdown. Still have my speed brakes deployed at 2500. Runway in sight. Craziness. Retract speed brakes. Flaps 5. Actually, flaps 15. Gear down. Approach mode on. Flaps 20. Flaps 30. See all of Dubai, the skyline off in the distance. Speed 139. We have a perfect crosswind. Alright, 1,000 my plane.
1,000.
Throttle off.
$100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
All right. So no reverse thrusters because there's sound restrictions at this airport, so we're just going to rely on auto brakes and spoilers. All right, welcome to Dubai. Landing lights off. Taxi light on. Strobe off. Wing off. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty insane approach into here. Alright, APU on. Alright, crossing runway 12 right, so we're going to turn on the strobe. So one of my favorite parts about flying into Dubai is the fact that there's so many A380s. Just in front of us right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's like 6 A380s. Alright, turning off the taxi light. Alright, parking brake on. Engine's off. Alright, let's get the jetway connected. Alright, well that was a great flight. Didn't really have many issues. It was kind of difficult getting the plane down on the approach, but other than that, I think that was just for my poor setup skills. But anyway, I really enjoyed this flight. I can't wait to do more in all the other PMDG aircraft. They have a 777F out. The 200 isn't out yet, but I'm really glad that we have the 300 right now. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. If you guys enjoyed it, please do subscribe. I am coming back to YouTube after losing 10 whole years of progress. So anyway, like I said before, do subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. Leave a like if you want to show some support. And anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video.